Hey, Chuk Mung Nam Moi, guys. We are up in Danang, and Danang is Dep Qua. It is New Year's Eve, Year of the Ox, Tet holiday in Vietnam. We're gonna do a walk along My Khe Beach in Danang. I would talk to you guys more, but I'm concerned about the wind, making the audio completely insufferable. So this will probably be a walking with beats video. We're gonna show you My Khe Beach. It's a really nice beach, generally very touristy, but because of the whole situation globally, it's quiet. Look for that. Peace. So guys, this is My Khe Beach. I'm gonna try to do audio for you. If it sounds really bad, I'm gonna dub over it with music. So it is Tet. There's new rules change coming at the end of Tet for getting foreigners into Vietnam. We don't know what that's gonna look like, but I suspect it's gonna work out okay. Just from my Vietnamese contacts, I'm not like overly concerned, but it is something to consider. Things are gonna be changing soon. So, you know, bear that in mind in whatever your intentions are. It's a new year. You know, we can all pretty much agree 2020 was horrible. You know, we're doing pretty well. I'm hoping you guys will do pretty well in the coming year. I'm not really sure what 2021 is gonna hold. I mean, after this last year, it's kind of hard to, you know, like imagine that anything is impossible. You know, what could change? I don't know. I mean, could it get worse? You know, probably it could. I mean, when it comes to these things, like, you know, people asking me, like, is Vietnam gonna start opening up? Is it gonna be, like, you know, easy to get flights in here? I mean, I've been pretty much consistent in saying the same thing for the last year or so. And that really is that nobody fucking knows, and it's gonna really heavily depend on how the situation goes globally. It's been a pretty crazy year. Like, I nearly died from like a blood clot in my stomach, which was pretty horrible. Now I'm in really good health and I feel really good, and my business is really growing, and I've been able to help a whole lot of people. So I'm pretty excited. I think it's gonna be a good year, but I can't predict, guys. All I can do is kind of go off of like previous experiences and try to give you an indication of, like, you know, what's blowing in the wind. But yeah, I mean, it's been a rough year for everybody, and I know there's a lot of people who really want to get into Vietnam, but like, I can't really tell you that like everything's going to be all good, because, you know, they've got this new variant thing. We've got an outbreak going on down in Saigon, more so up in the north, but now there's quite a few cases down in the city. We don't really know what's going to happen. The government's bringing in new rules. We don't really know what that's going to look like till after Tet. You know, I feel like there's always going to be a pathway. Like, you know, it is Vietnam. Like, I mean, this is a place where very often the unimaginable can happen. You know, it's, you know, it's not that easy to get in at the moment. It's not that straightforward. There's like a process, you know. I know that sucks, but I figure that the Vietnamese are protecting their interests and trying to keep their economy moving. So, I mean, there's not much really anybody can do about it. We just kind of have to hope that things get better globally and go with the flow. You know, I'm not a fortune teller. The only thing I can tell you is that every time there's been a way to bring people in, the Vietnamese have been, you know, exploiting it. So for sure, I don't think that's gonna stop. It's just gonna maybe take on different forms. I'm not entirely sure what that's gonna look like, but I can tell you guys a whole lot more after Tet. You know, we don't know, man. Everything's kind of one day at a time because it's the holiday, and because of the current outbreak, we just don't know what shape this is all gonna take. You know, I mean, like I said, I'm pretty optimistic. My agent is pretty optimistic. Most of the people I work with that work with foreigners are pretty optimistic. They, you know, it's just that, you know, whenever there is a change, right, you know, it's gonna take a little bit of time to kind of see how to work within the frameworks of that change. So at the moment, it's a little bit unclear. But I'm gonna know the procedure, you know, come the 18th of February, depending on what time you're seeing this video. Again, this is New Year's Eve Tet. I'm gonna have some answers for you pretty soon. But again, nobody can read the future. And I need you guys to understand something. Sometimes a rule or a law here, it can change 3 times in a day. Like, I've heard all this crazy stuff, and some of it even comes from like Vietnam Express, like from the paper. And then I talked to my agent, and that's not the case. Like, the same day they announced that like there's no more flights from England, I called my agent, and she's like, yeah, we can still do flights from England, you know? And then like she's like, the same thing with South Africa, you know? So it seems like there's a rule, and then 20 minutes later there's a different rule. So all we really can do, you know, as consultants for you guys, is do our best to try to keep up on these changes and figure out how to work within whatever limitations those changes set. But you know, we have a really good track record of performing for people. We've gotten a guy off a blacklist. We've gotten people out of some crazy situations. We had a couple guys that kept getting denied. Eventually we were still able to get them approved. So you know, our reputation and our track record is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'm really optimistic that like whatever changes are coming, you know, we're gonna have a solution, and we're gonna keep being able to get people into Vietnam and help you guys get in. I'm not really too concerned. I was a little concerned when I heard about the new rule change. I'm like, damn, it's like everybody else, you know, it makes things a lot harder, you know. But after speaking to my agent the last couple days, I'm not really as worried about it. I mean, there's always a way to do things in this country. And if you have the right Vietnamese contacts, you could be surprised what you can accomplish. I don't think that Vietnam's opening up anytime soon, guys. So whatever these changes are, we're gonna have to try to find a way to be flexible and to work within them. That's my end. I'm gonna take care of that for you. What I need from you guys is just to trust me. You know, if I tell you to wait till after TED, it's because I don't want to tell you something it turns out not to be true. You know, my main goal is not just to get you into Vietnam, but to get you into Vietnam as safely as possible, with as minimal drama as possible. So that's what I'm working towards. That's the ends I'm working towards, and I'm always going to find ways to try to make that happen for you guys. You know, hopefully at some point it will return to normal. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. What is normal anymore? You know, I mean, I know that some other countries have opened up a bit, and that's cool, but you know, Vietnam still kind of remains one of those destinations where you can still make a pretty good amount of money living here. I mean, unfortunately, with the closure of the schools now, we're not sure if they're going to reopen right after TED again, because you know how that goes. Nobody fucking knows, man. It depends on this virus, and supposedly this one's more contagious, so it's not an ideal situation. But they've been doing checkpoints. I had a friend coming in from Dalat, and they're doing checkpoints. They stopped and thermometer checked every motorbike and every bus that was coming through there. So that's kind of cool. It's good to know they're like really on it. I think this will be contained. I'm a little more concerned about the rules changes, because what's being proposed would decimate the teaching industry here. You would just see massive closure of centers. Already they can't supply the amount of teachers that they need. I mean, it would just be an absolutely apocalyptic event if these rules were to stand as they are currently being proposed. But again, we don't know. And even if they do seem to be a little bit strict, it's hard to say how that's actually going to play out in reality. So just hang with us, and we'll do our best to find out how to make things work for you. You know, when people work with me, I refer you to people who I trust, you know, and I refer you to people who I don't know that well, but I tell you. You know, like maybe you need a job in a provincial town, you know. I know people who can do that. I don't know them super well, but I know people who can arrange that. But when it comes to visas, the only people I fuck with are people I have known for years. Because it's different, you know, than you looking for a TEFL job in the boonies versus your visa. To me, that's your safety being here. So, you know, the people I try to work with for referrals, you know, they have long track records of helping people, being successful, And that's something I really pride myself on, and I really trust them. Like, if she told me like it's over, that's it, people, you know, people need to have all A, B, B, and, you know, C or whatever, and then I guess that's what it would be. But that's not the buzz I'm hearing. I think it's gonna be all gravy. It's just, we're gonna have to wait and see. Anyway, guys, so what do you think of MK Beach? This place is pretty spectacular, huh? I'm gonna do a loop back. So you got a little bit of action going on. There's not a couple people in there. This place is completely abandoned. This place has some customers. Completely empty. This one's completely empty. This one's more like almost a shell. And God, this is so beautiful. So I think we're moving up here, guys. I don't know about forever, but we'll be up here for a bit. My lease is up in May. So I think we're gonna head to Danang. Maybe from Danang we'll do some time after that in Hanoi, or maybe Phu Quoc or Nha Trang. I mean, I think now that I'm making enough online, it's not really so much of a need for me to be in the big city anymore. So I'm gonna start exploring and networking in other destinations. And I'm gonna do my best to expand my network into these markets. I'm gonna tell you right now, guys, Danang is awesome, but if you're trying to teach your teacher, it's maybe not the best place. I will weed out whatever jobs are up here because it's what I do, but I think it's a better destination for people who can either have a passive income like a social security, or who can work online, or who have like some sort of an online business, or residual income from a property in your home country. This would be really rough if you had to rely on teaching. I mean, it depends. If you want subsistence living, like I have a friend he's subsistence living, but you know, he's doing it here, which is pretty awesome. So, I mean, you know, he's happy. I probably wouldn't be happy at the same standards that he's used to, but you know, to each their own. Blame nobody for living more simply, you know. There's all levels of this, man. And if you wanted to just subsistence live, I think you could do it. But if you wanted to have like a real, like, decent quality of life and like a really decent, comfortable apartment, teaching would not be the business out here. Because even at the international level, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll just fire everybody at the end of the year here so they don't have to give them more money. Because there's always a line of other foreigners waiting to come. It's a destination that people want to be in, guys. So if you have your online income worked out, all right, then, you know, Danang is a great spot. If you don't, I would probably suggest one of the bigger cities like Hanoi or Saigon. I think I will live in Hanoi at some point, but I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna figure out what's the lowest pollution season, live up there for like a 3-month lease, and maybe work, maybe not, but just be in a position where I could skedaddle once the air quality gets bad. Because I do really like Hanoi, I just don't know if I really want to take on that pollution. Like, I feel so much better here in Danang, and you know, like I said, with the rules change, I know it's going to be a bit different, but everyone around me is pretty confident that it's still going to be able to proceed. It just might take on a different form. So with that being said, I probably really don't have any geographical limitations as much. I could start trying to explore other markets for you guys, and then once borders open up, I can explore even further markets. But for now, we could document and network within all of Vietnam, so that depending on what you're trying to do in the long term, I should have contacts in most major cities and destinations, because I don't think this thing is going to be over for at least another year. Vietnam is not really willing to take risks with this. I mean, it seems like they want foreigners here because, you know, we create a lot of opportunity. We spread a lot of money around. We fill positions that are difficult to fill. There's a lot of industries built on making money with us. But you know, with the new law change, it's hard to say like what they're thinking behind that is, because it's going to be really, if it were to be implemented in a serious way, I mean, you would just see the massive closure of language schools, because they would not be able to get enough foreigners. Very few foreigners would be able to get, you know, the credentials that are needed to be considered experts. It would become really crazy, and the salaries for those that would be astronomical, because they would just have, I mean, but nobody would have a teacher. I mean, it would be completely detrimental to the system, and like it doesn't really benefit the country because it takes money out, you know, like these expats that come in, their GDP, like Danang is closed, man. Like I'm going around most of this beachfront area, there's like zero tourists. The city center's buzzing, but there's nothing going on out here on this side, and the only money on this side at all is the expats. And I imagine that that's true in a lot of places. I mean, if you look at how Boy Vienna is, you know, they have some locals who party there and they have expats who party there, but it's a shell of its former self. I mean, you could get high-rise properties in Nha Trang right now for like 7 million, like crazy luxury 2 bedrooms. So I don't see why they would really want to like close this out. Because what I'm proposing, guys, is, what they're proposing, guys, is that not only would you need to have a degree, but the degree would have to match this field you're becoming an expert in. So like if you wanted to be a teacher, you would actually have to have a degree in like education or English. Whereas people who even had like an engineering degree would not qualify. You know? So I can't imagine that this is how this is going to actually play in reality. And apparently neither do most of my Vietnamese contacts. So again, I'm not like crazy concerned. I'll get concerned when they start telling me to get concerned. You know, most of my opinions when it comes to Vietnam are based on people whom I have relationships with. I don't just make this stuff up off the top of my head. Like most of it is coming from people I trust who are advising me, you know, because we cooperate and we benefit each other. So it's important for me to know what's going on. That's why I meet with them several times a month. We're in communication daily. So as soon as it turns to the February 18th, boom, I'm gonna know. I'm gonna know the process. I'm gonna know the procedure to get you guys into Vietnam, because, you know, they're not gonna stop altogether, guys. Don't freak out. Now, unfortunately for people who are caught in the middle of the change, that I'm not sure how that's gonna go. You might get denied. But also don't freak out, because I had some people who got denied 3 times before we got them approved, and we still eventually got them approved. Like, denied once is not always the end all be all. It doesn't necessarily mean you're screwed. Anyways, guys, this is a little stroll on BK Beach. I just kind of thought I'd give you some of that info, kind of let you know where my head is at. I mean, hopefully you guys enjoyed the walk. Happy New Year, Chúc Mừng Năm Mới. I have confidence in Vietnam. It hasn't failed me yet. I don't think it's gonna start now. I actually think it's gonna all work out fine. So everybody just try to keep your heads and stay cool until after Tet, and I'll have a lot more clarity for you then. And just try to enjoy the Lunar New Year and take it easy, one day at a time. Come the 18th, we'll have more clarity, and I'll be able to give you guys a better picture of the situation. Anyways, this was a walk on BK Beach. I hope you enjoyed it. I really like the Nang. I'm looking forward to living up here. Anyways, Happy New Year. Peace.
Brush your face and wash your teeth, son.
Hey, what's up? I'm D from Canada. Hook up with the New York Nomad if you want a smooth ride into Vietnam or any Southeast Asian countries.
Hey, my name is Aaron. Get in contact with the New York Nomads. If you want to get into Vietnam, hit them up. They'll get you in securely, and professionally.
Yo, this is Uncle Hollywood. I'm telling you right now, the New York Nomad got me a job. He's legit. Hit him up, check him out.
New York Nomad set me up in Vietnam.
Yo, my man got me a job. Come to Vietnam.
Hey, what's up, guys? You thinking about coming to Vietnam? You're not sure where to start. You've heard a lot of things online. You don't know what's true. You don't know what's not. We offer a consulting service where we help you get on your feet in Vietnam. We give you advice on negotiating contracts with employers. We help you with real estate agents, visa agents that are reliable and that you can trust. We help you get started in this amazing country and get on your feet. We help you get into different opportunities that might be more difficult for you if you were just landing in the country on your own. And we help you avoid a lot of the pitfalls and problems that you could have as a newcomer here. We provide you with reliable job recruiters, visa agents, real estate agents, and advice. If you guys are thinking about coming to Vietnam, hit us up for a consultation. We'll help you get started, help you get on your feet, and hopefully you'll love Vietnam as much as we do.